Hello and welcome to Chantilly High School's first ever town hall. My name is Nayana Xavier. We live in one of the most divisive times in American history. Our nation has been ravaged by COVID-19 and racism. We unfortunately live in a time where a person is judged by the degree of their skin instead of the degree of their actions. But among all the hatred and violence comes a wave of change. People are taking an active effort to understand the Black community and educate themselves, and these actions spark hope for change. Today, I'm joined by a panel of proud Black individuals who are here to share their experiences, identify stereotypes and misconceptions, as well as answer your questions on what it means to be Black in America. Hello and welcome, everybody. First, let's do some intros, your name, grade, and anything else you think is relevant to expressing who you are.
Okay, I'll go first. Hi, my name is Isis. I'm a sophomore rising junior. I identify as Black. I guess I would use the term African American if I'm sensitive. Yeah.
Awesome. Yesmeen?
My name is Yesmeen. I'm a rising senior. I was born here. I do consider myself African American, but my parents were both born in Egypt. So.
Kiera?
Hi, my name is Kiera. I'm a sophomore rising junior. I do identify myself as African American. I was born here. All of my siblings were born here, and so were my parents.
Sebah?
Hi, my name is Sebah. I'm a junior rising senior, and I consider myself to be African American, and I wasn't born here. I was born in Eritrea, which is in East Africa. So I have my cultural roots, and then I also identify as Black also.
All right, Shary?
Hi, my name is Shary. I'm a rising senior. I identify as African American. I was born here. My mom was born in Ethiopia. My dad was born in Eritrea in East Africa. So, as Sebah pointed out, I do have the African roots, but then I also have the experience of being Black in America. So, yeah.
Naya?
Hi, my name is Naya Frisby. I'm a sophomore rising junior at Chantilly High School. I identify as Black or African American, and I'm just here to share my experiences in school and out of school, and my opinions.
Awesome. Salem?
My name is Salem. I am a rising senior, and I was actually not born here. I am from Ethiopia, and both my parents are also from Ethiopia. And I moved here when I was 9 years old, so I also have the experiences as living as an African American woman in America. And I'm here to just talk about my experiences and hope it brings about awareness.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for coming here. And we'll get right to the questions. These are questions that were collected by asking Chantilly students about all the questions they had about being Black and about the students at our school.
The blue add to Chrome button, then I'm sorry about that.
Okay. So first, let's start talking about racism specifically at Chantilly High School. Have you experienced racism at Chantilly High School? For example, has a teacher acted in a biased way towards you or acted in a more favorable manner towards another student of a different race?
For me, personally, it's I feel like it's not blatant, you know what I mean? Because it's you don't really it's most of the time it's really subtle, because it's if you do point it out, you're deemed as oh, you're overreacting in a sense, because it's so subtle to the point where it's nobody really notices it until you feel it on your own part. I would say that there are certain teachers who are they tend to be able, they're more open talking to certain kids other than the other ones, whether it's it really could depend on how quiet or how shy someone is, like, which makes total sense. Like, there are some teachers where I've had, like, stayed in classrooms and, like, they've never, like, not once talked to me, or, like, in general, like, this year, I've had, like, all the kids who were, like, white, or, like, you know, like, they were more called on, or they were more, like, they're more noticed. And then for people who are just like me, like, they're in the back, like, you know, they say hi, like, they do what they need to do, and then they leave. So it's kind of, like, subtle, but at the same time, it's, like, not. So it's kind of weird.
So it's present enough for you to notice it, and for you to feel those teachers and people who aren't paying enough attention to you. Anybody else?
To add off to what Sebah said, I don't know if it's more so the teachers at Chantilly. I think it's more so the students, in the sense that, okay, personally, I do take a lot of, like, not a lot, but I take a couple of, like, AP classes, and so in those classes, like, I would say, like, 90% of the time, I'm, like, the one African American. I know my physics class, I was 100%, like, the only African American. And so in situations like those, it's really common for, like, people in the class to say, it's like, yo, Shary, it'll be, like, really easy for you to, like, get into college now, right? Because, like, you take these classes, you get the grades, like, and you're African American, like, it must be, like, so easy for you. And then, like, when I hear stuff like that, or, like, when people call me, like, honorary Asian because I do care about my education, but then I'm Black, I'm just like, you don't need to be Asian to be smart, you know? And I think that's something that pushes me, like, to work a lot harder on my academics. The fact that I am Black and I am representing, like, my ethnicity when I sit in that class all alone. And so, like, that aspect drives me a lot more than I would say, like, if I were just one amongst many. But in that sense, it's like students aren't used to seeing, like, that in like, successful Blacks in Chantilly, because we're, like, small in number. I think there's, like, maybe, like, 100-something Black kids in Chantilly. We're really small in number, so you don't see them often. So then the few you do see who are academically successful, it's like a shock to them. And it does hurt me to see that. And so I think that is namely the biggest kind of, like, racial discrepancy that I have seen in Chantilly. Yeah, that's my viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
To go off what she said, it's not usually in the teachers, like, it's like the other girl said, it's very blatant, or, like, you can feel it, but it's mainly in the students. And it's usually, I know you've all heard it, but it's usually the N-word. You hear it a lot in the students. You hear it in the cafeteria. You hear it in the hallways. You even hear it when we are in gym class. Well, I know you guys don't do gym anymore, but we hear it when we're in gym class, and, like, the song covers up the word, but you still hear the white students say it. And it's honestly hurtful and disrespectful to see how disconnected we are as a community, because they should not be saying it. And I know when I was taught from my parents that I should never say it because it's derogatory, it's offensive, it's literally a disgusting word. So I hear other ethnicities besides Black or mixed say it, it's just really hurtful to see. And that's literally the only time I usually experience racism in students, like, really uneducated. I mean, I think all students education, people who really don't know the background of it, it's usually where you hear it most from. Yeah, that's my viewpoint on it.
Yeah, and that brings me to my next question, actually. Do you think anybody has really the right to say the N-word? And if so, who? And should the word even be said in the first place?
Now, I personally believe that...
Go ahead. Go for it.
Okay. I personally believe that the N-word should not be said by really anyone, but if it were to be said, it should definitely be used by a Black or African American person because of how heavy the history of the word is, and how the Black community has sort of reclaimed the word from its original purpose and use. So it's kind of something that we get to own as a community and we can kind of embrace it in a way, if that makes any sense. So we're not really, it's something that we don't really have to face it as part of discrimination. Like, of course, people will say it all the time, blatantly, as a word to be taken as offense, but it's just something that has evolved into something better, but it should only really be used by the Black community.
Adding on
Yeah.
to also, sorry, Sebah.
Go for it. Go for it. You're
A
good.
lot of people talk about the N-word pass, or, oh, I have a Black friend, I have a Black cousin, I have a Black, I don't know, it could be whatever, really. And I've seen so many kids come up to me and say, oh, no, it's okay, I have the N-word pass. I'm not racist. I have a friend who's Black. I have Black friends. And to me, I'm sitting there and it's like, because you have Black friends, or because you know a Black person or an African American person, it doesn't mean that necessarily you are Black. And I think so many people forget that or overlook it because we didn't get to have a pass at the years of oppression. So I genuinely believe that the N-word pass does not exist. And for people who give out the N-word pass, or, you know, I can't sit here and tell you what to and not to do, because at the end of the day, you make that decision for yourself. But I think anyone who uses the N-word as, oh, it's just a word, I'm not racist, I don't mean anything by it, or it's just a lyric in a song, just understand the history behind it, and it's not just a word. So when there's other African American people around you and you're just saying it as if it's, you know, just a regular word, it's not. And I think that everyone needs to take into consideration that it's hurtful, it's a derogatory term, and it's not something to be thrown around.
So whether or not you're singing it in a song, if it's a part of a song lyric, or if you're hanging out with Black students, under no circumstances, if you're not Black, should you use that word.
Exactly.
And
Period. There's no other.
I people who are the African American people who are sitting here giving out these passes are helping and like leading to the point where we have to walk the hallways and we hear this word from every direction. Like, we go to the cafeteria, we hear it there. We go to gym, we hear it there. We go to class sometimes in the middle of like a lecture and we'd hear someone saying it in like the back row or something. And if you are sitting here giving out the N-word pass to like all your friends, you're like everyone around you, then you're helping to that. You're leading to what we have to go through at school. So it's just
when it comes to the N-word pass, thanks. When it comes to the N-word pass, like, I feel like for me, it, like, under no circumstances you should never, like, I don't think it's a thing. And like, for me, who was a person who like when I was younger, obviously, it's like people would often say it to me and be like, oh, you're cool though, like you'll get it, like you're like, be comfortable, like they expect you to be comfortable with it. But then also when you speak up, they're like, oh, like, why are you not being cool? It's like, but how are you going to expect me to sit here and allow you to talk that to me, knowing full well, like, you're not allowed to say it? It's like, they know, like, everybody who says it who isn't Black, like, they know they're not allowed to say it. That's why they get so uncomfortable when people call them out, or when people tell them, like, hey, like, do you know the history behind that word? Like, obviously, the word is, it's, like, it has a really bad history, but I feel like it's up to the Black community as like a community to decide whether or not they choose, or like up to a Black person to choose whether or not they say it. Obviously, like, there's still going to be some Black people who still say it, but at the end of the day, it's like, you as a person who is either white or like Latino or Asian, it's just like, you have no right to call upon that and like try to make the decision for other people. And it's just like, it's annoying, because it's like I've had so many people say it to me, and then when I call them out, they're like, oh, but like, why are you being like so pressed? Like, why are you pressed? I'm like, because you're not supposed to say it. Like, that's just, it's common. Like, I don't understand what's like not going through your head. And then they want to make excuses like, or like I've heard someone say, oh, like my grandfather's black, that's why I have curly hair. And it's like, but your skin's still white though. Like I don't understand. So yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about white passing. How do you view white passing? What are your thoughts on it?
And my thoughts on it, it's like, well, I need to know you first. Like, I don't just let anyone come up to me and like be like, oh, this is who I am, or this is who. It's like a thing like where someone says that they identify as black, but they know they're white, but they like identify it, but they know they have no history of it, but they say they identify it. It's not the same thing. Like, I need to know you first. I need to know your parents. I need to know where you're from for me to be able to feel comfortable around you and let you like say that word around me or say anything around me that could be racial towards me or to anyone in the black community.
Isis, do you have anything to add on to that?
Full black, like you're not like half black. I'm like, yeah. If you look at my parents, look at their parents, maybe if you go back just a few more generations, you'll see where the differences are. But it gets on my nerves because it happens way too much. It's like, it's almost like a trend for people to go around the school and try to find mixed people, and
Yes.
especially if they look like it. But there's a lot of black people, especially in the United States of America, have at least 20 to 30% of European ancestry in their blood. And that can drastically change the way that they look, their families. You can have everyone looking the same for generations, but then there's going to be that one odd one out that will just look like a white baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
And especially if you look at my sister, because when she was a baby, she could appear to be white passing. She was like blonde and fair skin, gray eyes. Now she starts to get darker a little bit, but people still kind of mistaken her for being Arab or Hispanic because of her loose curls, the strawberry blonde hair that she still has. Her eyes have went down to become like a mid-brown color, but she's still black. Look at my parents. Look at our grandparents. Everyone is black. It's just different.
Okay. I know in history, if people had one drop of black, they would be considered black in the face of the white man, right? Now, we don't see it as the same thing. If someone's half black, half white, they're light skinned. If someone is a quarter black, then they're a quarter black. I mean, in today's society, I know what you mean when you say like black people. It's like, but you're not really black. But then, in that situation, I mean, I don't even understand why that exists. What you just said, white passing. I think they should identify neither as black, fully black, nor as fully white. They're a mix of the two. If they do have black history, they have black history. And I think they should acknowledge all parts of their history and not identify as like one race just because they want to. And yeah, that's what I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. It's like, I can't personally speak on what it's like being mixed because I'm fully black. Both my parents are from Ethiopia, but for me, I've had several people come up to me too and talk about, oh no, but my aunt's great, grandma was actually black. So yeah, I can say it. Or like, they just make up a long family history in order to get a pass at saying the N-word or any other like derogatory term like that. Or they're like, oh no, it's fine for me to do that. And for me, I do not consider that as you're black because you're not fully black. It's just, like someone along your family history was African American, but that doesn't mean you are. You still have traces of it, but you're not going to sit here and tell me, your whole ancestral history for it to be justified for you to say the N-word.
Okay, definitely. Let's discuss cultural appropriation. Do you consider it cultural appropriation if a person that is not Black wears Black hairstyles or Black style jewelry? And to you, why do these things matter so much? Like, why does a hairstyle mean so much to you?
As a person who has like the type 4 kinky curly hair, a lot of these Black hairstyles are also called protective styles because it's like they tend to like help our hair grow. So it's like also there's many times where like for my hair type at least, like many people call it like unprofessional in the workplace, like for corporate America. So it's like for people to label my hair as like unprofessional, right? And then also say like, oh, like, you know, like I'm wearing these styles to protect my hair to make it look professional for you, but then you like those same people will call it ghetto, or like they'll call it like, oh, like it's not like widely sought after, right? And then so many of like me including, like I've had to go through like relaxers to try to make my hair like presentable, you feel me, like straight, and then those people go right behind our backs telling us that what we needed to look pretty, or like what we needed to have like our hair look like, we did, and then they went back and then used those same styles that we were using in our hair, and then now they're saying like, oh, it's chic, it's in trends. But I'm just like, if you hated it once on us, but you like it on yourself, how, like, why did you give us hate in the first place? And it's like, I think the reason it matters so much is just because like it's hypocritical, to the sense like, if you're gonna tell me something isn't pretty on me, but it looks pretty on you, like I don't see the correlation. So
I understand that. I just find it like really funny how it was like the people who hated on us or made fun of how kinky our hair is, or said, "Oh, what can I touch your hair? It just looks so so weird." I just like feel
annoying.
No, you cannot do that, and then you can't turn around and then like sit at midnight braiding your hair so that when you wake up it's nice and curly or nice and like poofy or kinky. It's like I don't understand how someone can hate on the way we wear our hairstyle from like our culture, but then turn around and do the exact same thing. So I think it is cultural appropriation, and I think I don't think they understand like the reason behind it. I don't think they do it intentionally. I just think hairstyle does matter because it's part of like who we are, or how we grew up, like sitting on our mother's laps while they like try to brush our hair.
Yes.
My head hurts just thinking about it.
It's just like painful memories, you know. So it's part of our culture. It's part of how we grew up. Yeah,
it's not a trend. I feel like that's what we need to add on to. Like, it's a part of our culture, and it's not a trend that you just get to jump on and jump off of whenever you want to. I just want to add that real quick.
I would like to also add, like, it's the same people, like, back to you guys said, they constantly touch my hair. Like, every time I do this hairstyles, like the space buns, I literally get at least 5 people a day trying to touch it, and I'd be like smacking their hand because no.
Yeah.
And also, it's like I don't know if you guys also get the question on why like I always change up my hair. Like I constantly get the question like, why are you always changing up your hair? Why are you always getting new braids? Like it's part of my culture. It's part of my roots. Like I need to change up my hair to keep it healthy, to keep it kinky, to keep it curly, to keep it moisturized, like to keep those natural oils tight. Because that's what's part of my hair. We have natural oils that keep it curly and keep it healthy. And also, I lost my train of thought, but it's the same people who like are getting like perms now to keep their hair curly, or to get their hair curly to get like to match our hairstyle, that were making fun of my hair back in like 2nd grade. It's like y'all like it now, but why were you making fun of me like 10 years ago? Like pick a side.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also because are we out of time?
No, we have 5 more minutes, but finish whatever you say.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just like, for me, I think it's also because like when it comes to like hair in general, I feel like it's like there's an appropriate, like there's a okay type of curly. You feel me? Because it's like if you have like loose curls that are like manageable, like if you're able to like take care of them without like no like I feel like that's what's sought after. That's why all these people are like getting burned to like have their hair at that loose curl. But it's just like for people who have like type 4 hair, like 4C, 4B, 4A, it's just like not only is it hard to take care of that type of hair, but it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. So it's just like, it's like if you have anything beyond that, like, or like okay curly hair, then it's deemed as like, oh, it's like not curly hair, like it's just like kinky, or it's just like it's just not cute in a sense.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but thank you all so much for coming here, for taking time out of your day and talking about these issues that are so present in our community. I hope if you're watching this video that you've learned something new, that you've grown to appreciate these wonderful women and the culture that they hold so close to themselves.